Micheal Chandler's last fight was the 12th of November, 2022. Check your calendar, right? It's nearly now Christmas of 2023. It's been a full year since Micheal Chandler has had a fight in the UFC, okay? So you might be saying, so what? Lots of fighters sit out for longer than a year. Well, Micheal Chandler is 37 years old. He's 37 years old today. His birthday is in June. Now, why is that relevant? Why are we talking about that? Because we still do not have a date for Micheal Chandler versus Conor McGregor. And according to Conor McGregor's coach, we may not have that fight until July of 2024. That means that Micheal Chandler will be 38 in the lightweight division with 2 wins and 3 losses on his UFC record. That is a horrible situation for Micheal Chandler. Micheal Chandler has wasted maybe the most important year of his entire UFC career. A year where Oliveira pulled out of a title fight, Gaethje versus Poirier got made, Oliveira took out Dariush from the top 5 picture. It's been a really big year for lightweight, and Chandler has sat on the sidelines holding up the red panties, just waiting for Conor McGregor. Now look, when the fight was first announced, Micheal Chandler versus Conor McGregor, all the way back in February, I can understand Micheal Chandler getting excited, calling his wife on the way home, stopping off at Victoria's Secret, walking in with a big cheesy grin on his face, buying a fresh new set of red panties, going home, putting them up on the mantelpiece, and just waiting for the date to set in. Then TUF happens and we get the entire season without a date. But during the filming of that, during the airing of The Ultimate Fighter, there was some confusion going on between the UFC and USADA. And once again, I can understand Micheal Chandler being willing to just sit down and wait for the news. It was 2 clean tests or 6 months in the USADA testing pool. This was the confusion. Or was it 6 months in the USADA testing pool with 2 clean tests? Or could we get a Brock Lesnar sort of exemption for Conor McGregor to get him back into the octagon sooner? All these conversations were happening during the airing of TUF. And the entire time TUF was airing, this was going on. And if I was Chandler, okay, I'd be all right with it too. I'd be thinking, it's okay, we'll get a date sorted. When all this gets sorted, we can just brush the dust off the red panties once that date does get sorted, and then we can slip them on. Then finally, around the start of June, we get some clarity from USADA. It is 6 months in the testing pool with 2 clean tests. So by the time all this happens, Micheal Chandler versus Conor McGregor will be on the December card, provided that Conor McGregor jumps in that USADA pool immediately. At this point, if I was Micheal Chandler, I'd be annoyed, but okay with it. At least now we have an answer. At least now we know what direction we're heading in. But then a very important date comes and goes, and that is June 16th. The 6-month cutoff period for Conor McGregor getting in the USADA pool before he could still fight in 2023. And it's at this point that Micheal Chandler should have taken those red panties off the mantelpiece and told Conor McGregor to shove them up his ass. Go, piss off, you can take this fight. I don't care what you do with it. Micheal Chandler should not have been interested from that point. He needed to start playing hardball with the UFC to get himself a fight. The dude is aging out of the most competitive division there is in the UFC. He really should have just started bad-mouthing Conor McGregor as much as possible and looking to get on the December card with anybody that he can. And then September, it starts to roll around, and Dana White finally announces that UFC 296 in December is going to be Edwards and Colby. And essentially throughout all of September, UFC 296 starts to fall into place and things get ticked off. Then Micheal Chandler's thinking, all right, obviously it's going to be UFC 300. And now it looks like Conor's going to get pushed back to, that fight is going to get pushed back to all the way until Micheal Chandler's birthday in July. Well, Micheal Chandler's birthday is in June, but it's going to get pushed all the way back to July, when Micheal Chandler will now be 38 years old. If that fight does happen at all, both Conor McGregor and Dana White have said we will talk about the right fight for Conor when he's ready to re-enter the pool. So Micheal Chandler might not even be the one getting that fight. Mike has to move on, and he needs to move on quickly. There's a guy in the lightweight division who has a lot of wins under his belt and who thinks he has a lot of hype and who is knocking on the door of the top 5. And Micheal Chandler should go ahead and take Mateusz Gamrot immediately. He should book that fight. Look, Gamrot is a lot of wrestling. Chandler is a great wrestler. He'll be able to scramble and get himself back up onto the feet, where I do believe Micheal Chandler can piece up Gamrot and get the win there, which means Micheal Chandler is going to get a win over a young up-and-comer, which is what the older guys like Gaethje needed to do, Poirier is going to need to do going forward, Oliveira will need to do. These are the things that keep the top 5 at lightweight in the top 5 at lightweight. And if Micheal Chandler wants to hold on to any shred of being a UFC champion ever again, he's got to take on a young up-and-comer. And I do believe that he can win against Mateusz Gamrot. Not that it'll be an easy night out for him, but out of the entire landscape at lightweight, that's probably Chandler's best bet. He has sat around and essentially wasted an entire year of his career at a very important stage for him. And him holding on to this Conor McGregor fight was fair enough, maybe all the way up until September. But at this point, it is just getting ridiculous. And he is looking like he will do anything for that Conor McGregor fight. It's not a good look for Micheal Chandler. Let me know what you think down in the comments. What should be the next move for Micheal Chandler? Should he bother sitting around and waiting, or should he just go ahead and try and fight someone as soon as possible to get himself back in the mouths of the media and get himself back in the conversation for a title shot? Let me know down in the comments. If you've been enjoying these videos, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. I would appreciate it so much, and I'll see you all in the next one.